With every, "Oh my goodness, I must get out of here," you add more and more tension, so that your feeling of panic becomes more and more acute, seems more and more unendurable. If you're prepared to sit in your seat, loosen your body to the best of your ability, and let the panic flash, let it flash right through you, without withdrawing tensely from it, I assure you there will be no mounting tension, no mounting panic. Your body will probably continue to flash panic for a while, but the panic will not mount. By acceptance, I don't mean quite the same thing as putting up with. Gritting your teeth and putting up with is what you've been doing for a long time, and it hasn't got you very far, has it? I mean utter acceptance, utter surrender, utter resignation to whatever your body cares to bring you. If you do this, the flashes of panic will gradually subside, and you will be able to sit there, if not completely at peace, at least comfortably enough to see the function through. Panic does not grow more intense of its own accord. Your body cannot produce increasing panic unless you give it the fuel with which to make panic. It is your own withdrawal in fear from the feeling of panic that supplies the chemical to make further panic. You build your own crisis by withdrawing from panic in panic. Recovery from panic lies on the other side of panic, not on this side. It lies in seeing panic right through to the other side. And don't enter that hall as you always have in the past, hoping panic won't come. Hope it will come, so that you can practice coping with the way I have advised. You need plenty of practice to be finally master or mistress of this situation. Practice having the courage to let go. Have the courage to surrender, to not hold on to yourself, to accept whatever comes. By such utter acceptance, you pass through panic to some sort of peace, at least to enough to begin with. I said some sort of peace, because even with complete acceptance, you will not feel blissfully peaceful immediately. You're too sensitized to be suddenly peaceful at this early stage in recovery. Apprehension will surely linger on. And because you're sensitized, every emotion is still exaggerated. But with utter acceptance, you accept even this, and then you'll be able to sit in your seat, even though your body may still feel as if it's vibrating, trembling, shaking, and panic seem just around the corner, perhaps even flashing from time to time. But you will be able to sit there, and all the feelings you have been making so important will somehow seem to matter not quite so much, and you will gradually gain new confidence as you see how letting go and accepting really work. Have the courage to let go and accept. Accept. Have the courage to see it right through with utter acceptance. Now, riding in a car, in a bus, walking up the street, entering a shop, even staying at home alone or being at work in fear are very much the same as sitting through the school function. If, after listening to this, you attempt to go out by yourself, perhaps for the first time in months, in years, make sure you choose a definite goal before you set out. Don't think, "I'll see how far I can go." If you do, you'll have only gone a little way when you'll begin to think, "Should I turn back? Have I gone far enough? Can I go any further? What if I overdo it?" You become indecisive, anxious, and I don't want unnecessary anxiety at this stage. Therefore, make up your mind before you start off which street corner you'll walk to, which shop you will enter, what you will buy. A bar of chocolate will do, real cotton. And wear comfortable clothes. Tight clothing may make you unnecessarily aware of your heart beating quickly, and I don't want you unnecessarily conscious of your body. And take a tranquilizer before you start out, but only one prescribed by your doctor. As I'll explain later, you may need a little extra tranquilization during the first weeks of recovery. Now, as you walk down the street or enter the shop, board the bus, don't try to hold on to yourself. Once more, have the courage to let go here, just as in the school hall. If you tremble, tremble. Trembling won't hurt you. If your legs feel weak, let them feel weak. They're still good legs to use. They'll still get you there if you give them the chance. Indeed, they won't go strong until you stop producing so much adrenaline by being so upset by the weakness. And this weakness is only a feeling. It's not a true organic weakness. It's the same weak feeling you would have if someone were to suddenly tell you you'd won £1 million. Don't be bluffed by a feeling. And don't add, oh my goodness, to any new strange feeling you may experience. Don't think, this is a new one. Dr. Weekes didn't mention this one. This must be important. It isn't. Accept any new feeling that comes. Accept anything your body does to you, while you walk, while you work, while you wait. I'm assuming that you've been examined by your doctor and he's told you that you're suffering from nerves. And understand that you've been frightened for so long that being afraid is your habit, so that during the early stages of recovery you'll probably continue to be frightened. You can't banish fears such as yours overnight. Accept even this. Accept that for some time yet you'll often add second fear, plenty of it. You'll add it out of habit. In the beginning you can only practice not adding it. And when you fail, don't despair too much. Despair, oh yes, who wouldn't? But don't utterly despair. Practice accepting even failure and despair. The person who eventually completely recovers is the person who has learned to disregard failure, to disregard despair. And take those first steps slowly. Don't rush. Rushing to get it over and get back home quickly only increases agitation, and agitation prepares the way for panic. So go slowly, gently, and don't start out trying not to notice how you feel. Don't try forcing yourself to think of something different to keep your mind off yourself. You'll lose that battle for sure. How could you not notice how you feel, not think of yourself? You've been doing just that for so long. Of course you'll still do it. So accept that you'll have your mind on yourself and be prepared for just this. Be prepared to think and feel anything. Go toward it. Don't shrink from it, but try to be not quite so impressed by the way you feel. Don't let your feelings bluff you. You've been bluffed by feelings for such a long time, haven't you? Actually, your sensitized body is functioning normally in the circumstances you are creating for it. In circumstances of bewilderment, fear, and tension, how could your heart not race, your hands not sweat and tremble? How could you not feel strange, weak, unreal? Therefore, be prepared to feel this way in the beginning, and don't expect the feelings to stop coming as soon as you begin to practice acceptance. Don't expect acceptance to work miracles immediately. As I said, this may be the first time in years you've tried to go out by yourself, or even to stay at home by yourself. Isn't it natural that you should feel apprehensive about what you're doing? Feel strange, unreal? Aren't these feelings to be expected? Aren't they normal in the circumstances? Of course they are. They're not even sick reactions. They are normal reactions in the circumstances. If you recover quickly by following this advice, that's good. I've seen it happen often. But if your recovery is slow, don't be disappointed. Each person must be prepared to recover at his or her own pace. Slow recovery is often good for you. It gives you a chance to practice the method I've been teaching you again and again, until you make it part of yourself. Panic doesn't go suddenly by ceasing to come. This is what you've been hoping for, waiting for. The cure doesn't work like that. Panic goes only when you take the panic out of panic by seeing it right through again and again and again, without adding second fear, until panic no longer matters. Even months after you're cured, you might still go through returns of panic. Memory is such an old fox. But you cope with these once more by seeing panic through once more, and not being bluffed into thinking you've slipped right back, that you're ill again. In fact, it's good to take the old skeleton out of the cupboard from time to time and have a look at him. He frightens us less and less as we get to know him more and more. Don't begrudge setbacks. You recover in setback. And when you go out, have the courage to cut the tie between yourself and home. Release your body by thinking forward. Put your thoughts forward where you're going. If you're in a car, a bus, move forward with it. Don't hold your body back by keeping your thoughts at home. Don't pull against your body. Move forward with it. Float forward. Loosen that tense hold. When you return home after practicing this way, You may feel unusually tired and nervier than ever. This is not difficult to understand. While you avoided situations where you thought you would panic, you could perhaps go weeks without panicking. But when you go out into fear-producing situations, ready to face and accept, you willingly put yourself in the front line of battle, as it were, and for the time being you may feel plenty of panic. This is what we want, isn't it? And this is why you feel nervier than ever, temporarily more sensitized. And this is why you may need extra tranquilization prescribed by your doctor while you go through the early stages of recovery. And don't be afraid to let a day or two pass without practicing. Don't think you'll lose all you've gained if you don't keep going. You will never lose what you've learnt once you start to work at recovery the right way. Refreshing yourself sometimes by making no effort for a while is wiser than flogging your body on for fear that you will lose what you've learnt yesterday. Accept these halts in recovery. And when you fail, try to discover where you went wrong. When you review the situation, I'm sure you'll find that you did rush headlong to try and get it over quickly and get back home. You did withdraw in fear. You did try to sit on panic and stop it coming. You did add too much second fear. Or you were so overtired and oversensitized with so much trying that you became frightened of the very intensity of your feeling of fear just when you were expecting to feel better. Or you listened to that little voice always ready to discourage you. You know, that little voice that says, you can never do it, telling you that the method might be the right one, but you haven't got what it takes to succeed. How often have I heard patients tell me this? And how often have I seen these people, frightened by that little voice, finally recover completely? Don't be bluffed by the little voice. So when you fail, go out and practice once more. But this time, practice the right way. And always remember, don't test yourself, just practice. Don't think, I went round the park so well last week, I wonder how I'll do it today. And then be disappointed if you're more afraid today than you were last week. Because you were so good last week makes you especially anxious to be good today. Hence, you start that journey round the park just a little fearfully, so that it may take only a minor incident to throw you into a good whoosh of panic and to instantly bring disappointment and despair. You see, the way to recovery is rather tricky, isn't it? Especially if you take every baffling twist and turn seriously. Accept it all. Accept everything about it and learn from your failures. Don't waste energy trying to work out why you managed so well one day, so badly the next. Accept it until you know the meaning of true acceptance as well as you know your own name. Acceptance should be written on your heart. I know that following this advice is not easy, but I assure you that you can do it. However big a coward you may think of yourself at this moment, if you continue to accept in spite of setback, in spite of disappointment, in spite of despair, you will find that gradually the feelings, the weakness, the panic, all the feelings you dislike so much, will come to mean less and less. And as they mean less and less, they grow less in intensity, come less often, because it's only while you let them matter so much that they can come. They depend on your dislike of them to stimulate the chemical to make them. They depend on your dislike of them for their very existence. Acceptance removes anxiety, removes bewilderment, removes tension, and so removes the symptoms of stress, which are your symptoms, however unique your symptoms may seem to you. Now, even with complete acceptance and doing everything I ask, it takes about 2 months to desensitize the body, and believe me, very few people do completely accept in the beginning. Complete acceptance is very hard at first. 1 minute you accept, the next you don't. So you must understand that it will take time for desensitization. So be prepared to let as much time pass as is necessary to bring recovery. Don't count the days, the months. Let time pass. Accept setback after setback. You learn more in setback than you do in the good periods. The good periods bring hope, rest, peace. But coming through setback brings you knowledge, brings you experience, and you build on your setbacks. Setback is your friend, so don't despair during setback. And now a last word. Doesn't matter how big a coward you may think yourself at this moment, or how long you may have been ill. If you follow the advice I've given, however haltingly to begin with, if you never let yourself completely despair, and are always willing to try once more, to practice once more, you will recover. I assure you of this.